Good evening, friends, Doron, Diane, William, Malcolm. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight. And I would like to begin my remarks with a message of gratitude to all of you. Pure, simple gratitude. Thank you for patching over the differences between our different parts of community and for uniting us over shared interests and challenges that the Jewish world now faces. Thank you for supporting and loving Israel, for never despairing or retreating from the struggle to improve the Jewish state. Thank you for investing in young generations of Jews so they may know the story of the second home in Israel and continue the legacy of our eternal bond. We know that when rockets rain down on Sderot, Jewish students at NYU may feel the need to tuck away their Magen David. We know that when Amnesty publishes their outrageous apartheid report, houses of prayer in California are targeted. Our lives, our destinies are tied. The state of Israel and the people of Israel have tremendous commitment to you. I am aware that the burden of proof is still on us, and we have a long way to go. We must address the layout of the Western Wall, which I have said before is long enough for us all. We must deal with the conversion, an issue that the Minister of Religious Affairs is dealing with in those days. We must listen, not just hear, learning and adapting to your needs and standing by you as you do by us. The current Israeli government has started taking action after a long, difficult of stagnation. This is a diverse, complex, and young government. And as you may have heard, there are some crises which I'm sure we will overcome. One of the changes we are dealing with is our relationship with the United States. Please make no mistake, Israel's closest strategic partner is the United States. And this government has ended a dangerous trend of partisanship that threatened our strategic alliance. Last week, I sat down with Senator Graham. 2 days ago, I met with Vice President Kamala Harris, and yesterday, I spoke to a delegation from the Democratic Party. The message in all three cases was clear. United States-Israel bond is bipartisan, unique, and ironclad. I am aware of what worries the world these days. We are all aware of the crisis in Ukraine. As someone who has experienced conflict, lost brothers in arms, and seen hundreds of bereaved families during my over 40 years of service, I can tell you that in war, even the winner gets to lose. Therefore, I believe that all parties involved must do whatever it takes to prevent bloodshed. In Israel, we too have commitment to preventing unnecessary bloodshed. Our top priority is to protect our citizens, and we are heavily investing in securing Israel's north and south, where I know you will be visiting tomorrow. I hope that you will see a new security barrier which gives residents in the south a sense of security and perfectly illustrates the reality we live in. We reach out to our neighbors, including the Palestinians. Years of neglecting those issues unfortunately strengthened Hamas. I took it upon myself to change this reality, to take initiatives that will support the Palestinian Authority's political legitimacy, to invest in the Palestinian economy, and to illustrate the cost of any harm made to the State of Israel. It is our moral and national duty to address the strategic issue vis-à-vis the Palestinians. It is in our strategic interest to do so because it is the only way to preserve Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. We not only wish to live in security, but we want to live in peace. And peace, my friend, is no longer an illusion. If you had told me that after my first mission as a soldier, securing President Sadat convoys in Israel in 1978, that more than 40 years later I would have flown with this very same plane to Bahrain as Israel's Minister of Defense, I would have waved you off. If you would have told me that I would one day stand in a synagogue in Rabat and pray for the well-being of Israel's soldier, I would have laughed. But this truly happened. The foundations of Abraham Accords and our ties with countries in the region has been based on diplomatic partnership and people-to-people relations. We have recently added a new layer to our ties. That's the defense relations. These ties are critical as we see the rise of Iranian aggression. I have said this before, and I will stress this again. A nuclear deal, if signed with Iran, does not mark the end of the road. It opens the door to important actions that must be taken. This includes monitoring OPEN's file. It also means stopping the development of ballistic missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads. And we must not reach this point in the road again, and that means dealing with the sunset clause. Enforcement and supervision by the IAEA are critical, but not enough. We need to have offensive capabilities and a set of sanctions ready in our back pockets in case Iran violates a future agreement. Iran strives to be a hegemon. Its nuclear program is a major enabler for that, but it is just one part of it. The second is taking over failed states and conducting war by proxy. As you can see behind me, during the JCPOA period, Iran increased its security budget by 50%. We must deal with Iranian aggression and support for the proxies and ensure that their so-called security budget isn't increased and money isn't poured into terrorism. And today I would like to share with you a new issue, a new example. And I would like to reveal just how far Iranian aggression has reached. I have brought with me a single image. It is really worth 1,000 words. This image shows a model of advanced Iranian Muhajir UAV presented by Venezuela's president. In addition to developing Iranian UAVs in Venezuela, our assessment showed that Iranian PGMs are being delivered for these UAVs and other similar models. With this image in mind, I can tell you that in my meetings with partners from around the world, including African and Latin American partners, I heard extreme concerns about Iranian support for terrorism. Iran truly is a global and regional challenge and not just a threat to the state of Israel. But Iran is also in crisis. There are demonstrations, people are hungry, there are water shortages, not to mention a violation of basic human rights. As a result, Iran has submitted a budget proposal with a significant increase in welfare investments. I can only pray that the frozen assets and funds following a potential agreement will go to a mother of 4 and grandfather of 6. But I have my doubts on this issue. The international community, under the US leadership, must be proactive, taking defensive and offensive actions to counter direct and indirect Iranian aggression anywhere, anytime. We must address both Iran's nuclear ambitions and its regional aggression. We have the capability to produce advanced defense systems. We have a duty to share intelligence, and we have the means as a community to pressure Iran. These are important tasks, regardless of whether or not a nuclear agreement is reached. Distinguished guests and friends, I have illustrated that our future are tied and that we must lean on each other, now more than ever. So I will take this moment to say thank you once again for being here and for living your lives with so much conviction and compassion. We will never cease to do the same. Thank you.